Hello, my name is Caitlin McNeil, and I'm here today to talk about networking. The title of this presentation is Networking for Newbies. So whether you are a newbie or someone who feels pretty advanced with networking, hopefully you're able to take something away from this presentation to help you be a successful networker. To begin, here is an outline of what I'm going to discuss today. We're going to discuss the benefits of networking, how to identify and build your network, and then some tips for if you're doing it in person or if you're doing some virtual networking, how to navigate those different environments. This is a quote that I wanted to start with. Networking is marketing, marketing yourself, marketing your uniqueness, and marketing what you stand for. I think that's really important when you go into this idea of marketing to make sure that you are putting a positive impression out there in the world for those to see. Now to get into some benefits. So the first thing when it comes to networking, the benefit to that is that it can help you truly develop your career goals and your passions. You're talking with professionals who are in the industry, who are maybe doing the job that you want to be doing, and you can ask them some of those specific questions to learn whether that is an area of interest for you. The next one is to develop your confidence. When you go into an in-person networking experience, it can be very uncomfortable, and just it's not very natural to just walk up to somebody and talk to them. So really an in-person networking experience will allow you to develop that confidence the first time that you go there to feel comfortable to do it in the future. The next one is to improve your communication skills, whether it's your written or your oral communication skills. Those oral communication skills come really important in the business world, and when you're in a networking event, it's really important to be able to communicate who you are and what you're looking for when you're at that event. Additionally, those written communication skills are really important when it comes to communicating via email or with anything on LinkedIn. You want to make sure that you're communicating appropriately, and networking will truly help you develop those skills. The next one there, that fourth one, to learn more about your industry and your profession. I mean, we mentioned the career goals and how that can help you truly understand that, but if digging in deeper is related to that industry and to your profession. So yes, you've identified that this is what you want to do, but learning more and becoming confident and excited about your industry is really something that can develop through networking. Which leads into that next one, that creativity and innovation. When you can geek out with somebody about maybe a theory or an application that you really enjoyed, I think that's really important, and it allows that connection within networking for you to build that rapport with somebody else. I've done this with a lot of my colleagues regarding different theories, and like I said, it helps bridge that gap and helps you become more confident and knowledgeable of your industry. So the next one is relating to growing your network and connecting with people. That's the overall goal of networking, is to making sure that you are growing that network, meeting new people, and helping bridge that gap between your employer and other people, whether it's related to who you are as a professional, if you're trying to sell something in any way. What you're always wanting to do is connect with people and helping grow your network and your company's network. Lastly, one of the most important things that people think about when it comes to networking is how you can find available opportunities and jobs, and that is usually the number one thing that people think about with networking. What we're going to do is we're going to talk about how to do that. But a lot of times we get the question, is networking important? There are quite a few articles that state that it's very important, that it helps you find a job, it can help you find that career success. And we also find that 70 to 85% of job-seeking individuals find opportunities through networking. We want that to be you, so that's why we're putting this presentation together to give you some of those skills and abilities. So as you can see this diagram that's on here, you are the center of your network. And what we want you to do is to navigate that network and find those first, second, and third degree connections. On the screen, you'll see a few different examples of who could be in your network. I think it's really important to tap in anything from your family, your friends, all the way up to alumni. And LinkedIn is truly a resource that can help you connect with alumni as well as organizations. And you can also look online to see if there are any professional associations that you can get involved with. As I mentioned, this diagram that's on here, I want you to take some time maybe when you get a chance to really draw out your network and to see who you can connect with. So next thing is, once you've identified who's in the network, we're talking about how you can build it. So some ways to do that specifically: any on-campus career fairs, networking events, and info sessions. Those are really great ways for you to connect with an employer. You can also get involved, as I mentioned earlier, in student organizations, professional associations, and social clubs. I had a student that was in a mountain biking club, and he didn't think to ask any of the professionals who were in this club what they did for a living. I encouraged him to do that. One of them happened to be an engineer, and he was able to get an internship opportunity from just asking somebody in his social club if they had any opportunities available. So thinking all the way to that social club level, but then also student organizations that are on campus can really help you build that network. Another one would be participating in networking events, whether they're happy hours, which are quite abundant across the Houston area, or any online meetups. There's actually a website called meetup.com where you can find different meetups that are social, academic, any type of community you want to get involved with. You can reach out to any of those through meetup.com. The last one was LinkedIn. Many of us know about LinkedIn, and other networking tools could be anything related to any social media platform, as well as emailing. A lot of people forget that the idea they could actually email somebody and ask about a networking opportunity. So using any of those resources can truly help you build your network. Okay, so a few in-person networking tips. Examples of these include career fairs, happy hours, and those club meetings like I mentioned. And these are just a few tips that I've actually taken from myself going out and participating in these networking events. I like doing these events, but I still find it very uncomfortable sometimes and I get nervous. So these are some of the techniques that I've used. So the first one is that first impressions matter. I always want you to dress to impress when you go to any of these events. Usually business casual is appropriate unless it states business professional on some type of invitation, or if you're looking online at any of the events, but you want to make sure that you're dressing the part. The next one, and these are two tips that I've actually used. So you want to look for people that are standing or sitting alone. Usually means that they may not be there with anyone else and they may feel uncomfortable to walk up to other people as well. So you can, smile at them from a distance and then walk up if you feel comfortable. This next one, wait to get in line for food or for drinks. Because this is what I've personally found, that if you jump and you go quickly, you go sit down and then you're waiting for somebody to come sit around and talk with you. But if you wait a little bit, you get in the middle of the line, you're able to talk to the people that are on either side of you within the line, and then you're able to get your food or your drink and go have somewhere to physically see that you can sit down and talk with somebody. It just alleviates some of that pressure of like, who's going to sit with me? You get a little bit more of the ability to choose that and control your situation. This next one, set goals. This is something that I specifically do when I go into networking events, is depending on how comfortable I'm feeling that day, I will set the goal of talking to two professionals, either getting a business card or an email contact. So I think that this gives me that goal, and once I achieve that, I'm like, okay, cool, I can be done for today, or do I need to try a little bit harder to meet somebody and to make those connections? So I think it's really important to set some specific goals for yourself when you go into any of these events. The idea of small talk sometimes has a negative vibe to it, that it's not genuine, but I truly believe that small talk is what helps create those relationships and build that initial rapport with somebody. So I'd encourage you to practice small talking, whether you're in the classroom, whether you're waiting in the grocery line, anything like that can help you develop and feel more comfortable with the idea of talking to strangers in an appropriate manner. Developing opening remarks, I think, is really important. A lot of times we're just uncomfortable in what to say first. So some lines that I specifically use, are you from Houston? How was your drive to get here today? Those are all pretty kind of standard things that give you usually a pretty positive response, or you can start that discussion with somebody and it leads to a further conversation. This last piece, being aware of your nonverbals, this is something that I've noticed other people do to me or to my colleagues. So just to point this out, some negative or sad things that will deter from your engagement within an in-person networking opportunity would be fidgeting with your jewelry, with your hair, with your dress of any kind. Also, standing with your arms crossed makes you not accessible, so you want to make sure that you are standing with your arms to your side and you look approachable. This other one, looking around. So if you are talking to somebody and they start to look around, or you start to look around, it can make you seem not interested or engaged in what they're wanting to say. That can be really detrimental to the conversation. Some positive things to do would be to lean in when they're talking, making sure that you're interested in what they're having to say, smiling, and of course making eye contact, which can sometimes be hard. We don't want to stare somebody down, but I think it's important to make appropriate eye contact and then move around the room, or when you're talking to somebody, you can look around if you need to. You just want to make it a long look around the room. Does that make sense? Okay, so next we get into some virtual networking tips. Some examples of these include social media, either LinkedIn or Facebook or via email. The first one here is developing that personal brand across your virtual platforms. I think it's really important that you have a consistent idea of who you are as a professional on Facebook as well as LinkedIn. Professionals can look you up. I've Googled people and tried to find what was about them online. So just making sure that whatever is out there in the world, you are determining that information. We have personal branding workshops if you'd ever like to come in and sit in and learn a little bit more about that. Next one, making sure that your LinkedIn information is up to date. I always ask this question to students: do you have a LinkedIn page? Most of the time they say yes. I'm like, are you an active user? And they'll say no, I just have it. Well, making sure that you're an active user, meaning maybe you post once to twice a week, would be a good start. I would encourage you to get on every day if possible, just maybe making 1 or 2 connections or liking and sharing some content. The third one there is keeping messages and emails short. Nobody really likes to read long emails or long messages. So if you do send emails or you do connect via LinkedIn, keep them short and to the point. This really helps to make sure that somebody will quickly read it and then maybe respond if they're interested, and if not, which leads me into this next one. We would encourage you to try twice to connect with someone. Send an initial response, send a follow-up saying that you just wanted to follow up on your previous message, and if you still don't get a response, they're not interested. And that's okay. Just means that maybe they're busy or they're just not interested in making that connection at that time, but leave it alone after that point. This last one, being professional, I think it's really important when you send messages that you're addressing them appropriately. Use people's names, use their correct name. I've had this a few times where people have connected with me via LinkedIn and they spelled my name wrong, or they've used somebody else's name. So I know that they're copying and pasting, and that's just not super appropriate. Also, make sure that you are not using slang or abbreviations. Not everybody is aware of the same abbreviations. If you're in the same industry, they could be, but if you're reaching out to someone not in your industry, they may not be aware of that. And when it comes to proper email etiquette, an introduction, a body, and a conclusion, and thanking them for their time is really appropriate. So to end, I have this quote. I mentioned small talk, and I think it's a really important thing to keep in mind. Small talk is the icebreaker that clears the way for more intimate conversation, laying the foundation for a stronger relationship. So I want to leave you with that. In regards to networking, I think it's really important to put yourself out there, though it may be uncomfortable, using small talk to bridge that gap and building that rapport, and making sure you're following up with that connection. So thank you. Any questions at all?